This is Bedtime Stories, Grownup Edition, Sins of the Father, Part 3. When we left off, 2 weeks had passed since Wise and Selima's wedding, and I was trying to tell you all how Donovan had gone missing. After the reception, everyone returned to their respective cabins, packed up, and headed out. Well, almost everyone. LJ, Regina, Q, and Angela were heading to Disney World with all the kids, except for Melissa and Michael. Q had given them a stern talking to, reminding them of the rules, because he knew his kids. Them kids was up to something. And while everyone was preparing to debark, Donovan was leaving Maribel with something she could feel. How he managed to control himself and keep it all oral is beyond my understanding. And all he did was leave Maribel wanting more. She said, "Now, how dedicated are you to this whole abstinence thing, Donovan?" Donovan said, "I'm dedicated enough to it to know that we're going to have to get married ASAP." Maribel chuckled and said, "What happened to dating and buying me flowers and all of that?" Donovan said, "Oh, we can get married and I can still do all that. But I got to have you, sunshine. All of you." Then Maribel got another text message. And that text message said, "I would hate to have to unalive him because you didn't follow the rules. Get off that boat. Your chariot awaits." Maribel showed Donovan the text and he said, "Sunshine, when I finish with that nigga, he gonna wish he never met you. He gonna wish he never met any woman with the letter M in her name. He gonna wish the alphabet didn't have the letter M in it." Meanwhile, at a small, family-owned restaurant off the beaten path, Portia's sitting at the counter, drinking hard liquor and trying to pace herself. She's still on some pretty strong medications for her mental illness and probably shouldn't be drinking alcohol at all. But the drinks at this small little mom and pop was poured with a heavy hand, and she needed something to calm her nerves because she'd been on pins and needles. She called Donovan, got no answer, sent him a text message, didn't get a response, called him again and didn't get an answer. And she knows from Jeff that the boat docked at least 20 minutes earlier. So it's now a nothing. She needs Donovan to stay in Miami and agree to meet her at this restaurant. Otherwise, the whole plan is going to hell. And when 5 more minutes pass and she decides that she's going to call him again, her phone rings. And it's Donovan. Donovan said, "What up, P? You good?" Portia said, "No, I'm not good. The whole situation with my family just went to hell. And I guess I got to go back to Texas, but I need a friend, somebody I can talk to before I crash out. You told me if I called you, you'd be here for me. You know I ain't got nobody else." Donovan said, "Calm down. Talk to me. What happened?" Portia said, "I got to get out of here. I need somebody to talk to. Can you come and have a couple of drinks and chop it up with me or give me a ride back to Texas with you?" Donovan said, "I can't come to no restaurant. You might need to meet me at the airport and ride back because I got an important meeting." And that's when it hit him. He was supposed to be taking Melissa and Michael back to Texas with him. He said, "Damn, I got busy and got all caught up and knew I was forgetting something. I gotta go. I'm gonna have to call you back." She said, "Wait, can you at least meet me or take me back with you? What you gonna do?" Donovan said, "Let me make these phone calls first. And if all goes well with that, I'm going to hit you back, and then we can get up." Donovan called Q and said, "Bro, my bad. You're not going to believe this." He ran everything down to Q, and then he asked, "What you want me to do, bro? You want me to head back to the yacht?" Q asked, "Where you at, bro?" Donovan said, "I'm headed to the restaurant where Portia is. She just don't know that." Q said, "Don't worry about it. They got Solomon and the Queen Mother still on the yacht. I'm going to call her. You good. Handle your business. Be safe, bro. I love you." Donovan said, "I love you too, nigga. I got it." Then Q called the Queen Mother and said, "Melissa and Michael are still on that yacht." The Queen Mother said, "No, they're not. I watched them get off of the yacht with Donovan." Q said, "That's not possible because Donovan is on the highway in a rental by himself. And he hasn't seen those kids since the reception." Queen Mother said, "Oh, them kids good. I watched Donovan get off this boat. And I watched the kids get off right behind him." Then she turned to Marley and said, "Track Melissa's necklace." And when he did, it was still on the boat. And it still had a heartbeat. And when she told Q, he asked, "Did you see Solomon get off the boat with them?" The Queen Mother said, "Well, I'll be damned, them damn kids. I know you and Angela doing that new parenting and y'all don't whoop kids, but when I find them, I'ma whoop they behinds. Q said, you gotta find them first, my dear. Let me see if I can get this pilot to turn this plane around. The Queen Mother said, don't do that. Go ahead and take those kids to Disney World. I will handle this mess here. I got it. When Q told Angela what was going on, Angela said, we going back. Q said, and then get cussed out? Nah, we going to Disney World. We're not going to ruin the rest of these kids' trip because those two kids decided they was going to be up to no good. Meanwhile, the Queen Mother had sent one of the soldiers to find Solomon. While she called Donovan, she said, baby boy, pull over and check the trunk of that car. Those kids got off this boat, and Melissa left her necklace on somebody else's neck. Donovan said, the only thing in the trunk is my bag, my dear. I got in the rental. I sat and watched Maribel pull off, and then I pulled off. The Queen Mother said, are you following her? You know that Jeff is tracking your necklace, right? Donovan said, no, I'm not following her. Like I told Q, I'm going to meet Portia. The Queen Mother said, so they're not in the trunk of Maribel's car then, right? Donovan said, no. I watched her walk to that car and drive off. If they didn't get off until after me, they can't be in the trunk of that car. The Queen Mother said, all right, you focus on what you're doing. Keep your mind on the mission. Don't worry about them kids or Maribel. And whatever you do, don't take that necklace off, Donovan. Donovan said, I got it, Ma. I love you. The Queen Mother said, I love you too. And don't be saying you love me like you about to die or something. Donovan chuckled and said, my dear, I need a favor. I need you to be at 11 a.m. service on Sunday. I got a surprise for you and the family. The Queen Mother said, well, I'll be there. There isn't any good reason why we won't have this wrapped up in 2 days. When the two hung up, Queen Mother turned to Marley and said, I need every soldier, every lieutenant, and every general not already working on other assignments, scouring this dock, every boat on this dock, until my grandchildren are found. Do you understand? When Marley said, yes, ma'am, the Queen Mother said, and get me Lorenzo, now. At that moment, Solomon walked up with Melissa's necklace around his neck. The Queen Mother said, what the hell happened, Solomon? Solomon said, Queen Bee, I am so sorry. And if this means that I'm going to be offed, I understand. But let me explain first. Queen Mother said, nigga, make it good. Solomon said, before the wedding, Melissa asked me if I would put her necklace on because it didn't match her dress. I tried to talk her out of it, but she was convincing. And after the reception, she was supposed to go back to her room and change her clothes, and I was supposed to give it back to her. But when her and Michael went back to their rooms to change and pack everything up, I waited outside in the hall, obviously. Next thing I know, I hear this loud bang and a scream. I try the door, I can't get it open. I kick it open, and the room is empty. I try to go in the bathroom, that door is locked too. I kick that one in. And that's when I realized that Melissa and Michael got a Jack and Jill bathroom. I go through to the other side, I gotta kick that door in too, because it's locked from inside Michael's room. When I get inside, they know where to be found. And when I try to go through his door, they got something up to the door handle, so I couldn't get the door open. So I run back through Melissa's room, and I can't get out of that room either. So I try to call somebody on my cell phone, and it's a message on the phone that says, gotcha. The Queen Mother said, Michael done hacked into your damn phone and disabled it? When Solomon said yes, the Queen Mother said, I would be impressed, and this would be comical, if this wasn't a serious situation. And if they didn't do you dirty, you right, I would off you. When Solomon sighed in relief, the Queen Mother said, oh no, don't get too comfortable, because you still got to deal with her father. Their little rules with the cabins isn't your fault, but letting her give you that necklace absolutely is. Now that you've been freed from your captivity, go help find my grandbabies. When Lorenzo walked up, he looked stressed out. He was stimming and everything. And if you're not familiar with people on the autism spectrum, one of the things that they do when their anxiety is through the roof is they stim. They might tap their fingers, they might tap their legs, they may have some other way of physically relieving their anxiety that's called stimming. And Lorenzo is on the spectrum, and he's stimming. The Queen Mother said, what's wrong, Lorenzo? Take a couple deep breaths and tell me what I'm dealing with. Lorenzo said, the watch. Maribel's phone, everything. It's in the parking lot. Jeff must have made her throw it all out the car. I have no idea where my big sister is. The Queen Mother turned to Marley and said, get Manny, now. Then she told Lorenzo about the kids. She said, I know you worried about your sister right now, but we got to worry about 4 people now instead of 1. Donovan's going to meet Portia. He still has his necklace on, but Melissa doesn't have on hers. She knows how the passive RFID works, so she's not going to engage any video capabilities on her cell phone, and she's not going to let Michael do it either. Lorenzo said, no worries. I can get in Michael's computer. When Lorenzo tried to get in Michael's computer, it was a dead end. He was not only locked out, but Michael's firewall had been upgraded, and it would take hours, probably days, for him to be able to hack into it. Lorenzo said, let's assume that Melissa had a dream or a premonition. She's got to be following either Donovan or Maribel. The Queen Mother said, how do we find him then? Lorenzo said, we don't. We wait and see what happens next. When Donovan and Maribel made their way to the exit to debark, they promised to keep one another informed. Donovan watched as Maribel went to the rental car that was waiting for her. And when she got in, he went to the rental car that was waiting for him. He'd forgotten all about his agreement to transport the children back to Texas because he was a little distracted. After trapping Melissa's guard in their cabins, Michael and Melissa headed to the middle deck and laid in wait for their Uncle D. When they saw Maribel and Donovan heading to the exit, Melissa looked at Michael and said, they made up, yay. And Michael said, how you know that? Melissa said, you've got to learn to see with your ears and hear with your eyes. Michael said, yeah, because that makes sense. And as soon as Donovan got in that rental car, Melissa looked at Michael and said, let's go. The two hopped into a rental car that was also parked in the dock. And 14-year-old Michael, who had just learned how to drive, courtesy of Big Wood, was behind the wheel. The night before, he'd set up an alert on Donovan's email and all of his accounts that notified him the minute he'd rented that car. And because Donovan was a Super Plus member with the rental car company and he had a black card, he was able to arrange for a car to be delivered at the dock. He could drive it for as long as he wanted and return it at any location. Each day would automatically be charged to his card, and when he returned it, if there was any damages, if the vehicle needed gas, anything, he'd automatically be charged. So when Michael got the alert, he duplicated the reservation. He was smart enough to arrange the vehicle delivery through a different rental car location, which means the rental car company may never figure out that there was a duplicate reservation. So Michael and Melissa were following Donovan. Now, Michael was not skilled in surveillance, so the two got separated at a red light. And when a car pulled up next to them, Melissa looked over, and driving the car was Maribel. She ducked down in the seat so that Maribel couldn't see her and said, I think that the plan just changed. When Maribel had made her way to the rental car, inside was a note that said, smile, you're on candid camera. Jeff was not a Super Plus member at a rental car agency. He'd driven his own vehicle to the docks, outfitted with all the surveillance and tracking technology required to ensure that Maribel came to him alone, untracked and untraceable. When she saw the message and went to dial on her phone, she heard a mechanical voice say, don't play with your life. You ever want to see your boy again? And you don't want everybody to get that video. You won't even risk it. Now throw that phone out the window. When she did, the mechanical voice said, now take off every piece of jewelry on your person and throw that out the window too. She threw everything out but the watch. And the voice said, the watch too. Don't play with me. And when she complied, the voice said, now throw your purse out the window too. And Maribel's heart sank, because inside her purse was her business phone, her last attachment to the real world, and the last possible way that she could be tracked. Then the voice had her leave the dock and drive around in circles until it finally started giving her real directions. Jeff had cameras inside and outside the car, so he was making sure that Maribel did not have a tail. And once he was sure, he started feeding her turn-by-turn directions to the house that he had that nobody knew about, except his parents, who'd gone off grid, and Nigel, who he had tied up and drugged. And as he monitored Maribel following his turn-by-turn directions, he was also monitoring Donovan and that necklace. Donovan had called Portia back and gotten the address to the little mom-and-pop restaurant where he was going to meet her. And right before he pulled up to that restaurant, he got another call from the Queen Mother. She asked, "Son, have you been on your P's and Q's?" Donovan said, "Of course." She said, "So, did you see any vehicles that look like they might be following you? Any that might be driven by one of the kids?" Donovan said, "I saw a vehicle that looked like it could have been following me, but I lost it at a light way back, and I never saw it again, so I figured I was tripping. What am I missing?" The Queen Mother said, "Don't worry about it. I need you to stay focused. Keep your phone on and the necklace on. You understand?" And as soon as they hung up, Donovan called Portia and told her to meet him in the parking lot because he needed to get to the airport. He said, "We can talk on the plane. Let's head back to Texas." When Portia came out, she was cool as a cucumber, still pretending to be upset about her family, but not at all moved by these change of plans. Donovan was standing outside the driver's side with the door open. He gave her a hug, and when they pulled back, she had a gun in her stomach. Donovan said, "Don't play with me. Get in the driver's seat and give me your purse."